Today, we step into the smoky, shadowy streets of Prohibition-era New York, a city humming with jazz, secrets, and corruption at every level. This was a world of speakeasies tucked behind unmarked doors, of political machines that held the entire city in a grip of power, and of disappearances that vanished into the fog of the East River without explanation. It is into this world that we descend today to investigate the ultimate vanishing act, a case that has confounded historians, law enforcement, and the public for nearly a century. The disappearance of Justice Joseph Force Crater, forever remembered as the Missingest Man in New York. Grab your coffee. We are diving deep into a story of corruption, clandestine meetings, hidden cash, and the tantalizing clues that suggest this Supreme Court justice did not simply vanish. He may have been swallowed whole by the dark underbelly of New York's political and criminal world. Joseph Force Crater was no ordinary man. Appointed to the New York State Supreme Court in 1930, Crater was a rising star within the city's political elite. He owed his career almost entirely to Tammany Hall, the legendary democratic political machine that controlled New York City with a combination of patronage, intimidation, and wealth. Crater, handsome and charismatic, thrived in this environment, navigating the corridors of power while indulging in the nightlife that made Prohibition-era Manhattan famous. He was known to frequent high-end restaurants, mingle with showgirls, and enjoy the thrills of a city that never truly slept. He embodied both the glamour and the moral decay of his time. The final days leading up to Crater's disappearance were marked by a series of perplexing actions. On August 1st, 1930, he abruptly cut short a vacation in Maine with his wife Stella, claiming that urgent business required his return to New York. What exactly compelled him to abandon a restful retreat remains unclear, but the context hints at mounting pressure, political, personal, or both, that had begun to close in on him. The days that followed show a man meticulously preparing, taking extraordinary care to organize his affairs as if anticipating a crisis of monumental proportions. On August 4th, Crater was seen at his law office for hours, sorting through files and making careful, deliberate withdrawals. 2 large checks totaling $5,150, a staggering sum in 1930, equivalent to more than $90,000 today, were cashed. And Crater personally retrieved the money in cash. Alongside the money, he carried 2 sealed envelopes containing legal documents. Witnesses would later testify that he had destroyed additional papers, hinting at either secret arrangements, threats, or the careful erasure of evidence that could implicate him or others. After leaving his office, Crater was never seen again in a public or official context. The climactic sequence of events occurred on the evening of the 6th of August 1930. Crater dined at Manhattan's high-end French restaurant, the Billy Haas Steakhouse, accompanied by 2 acquaintances, a lawyer and a showgirl named Sally Lou Ritz. Witnesses recall that the dinner was uneventful, even pleasant. Crater paid the bill, said his goodbyes, and mentioned he was off to a show. Then he walked out onto 44th Street, just off Times Square, disappearing into the bustling streets of the city. That was the last confirmed sighting of Joseph Force Crater. The immediate response, or lack thereof, was telling. Stella Crater, his wife, did not become alarmed immediately. She assumed that her husband's prolonged absence was due to work, or perhaps a romantic dalliance. It was not until 3 weeks later, when she returned to New York, that she formally reported him missing. By then, the trail was cold, the streets had swallowed any evidence, and the city was left with questions that would never be fully answered. The disappearance sparked national fascination. How could a Supreme Court justice, armed with knowledge of political corruption, wielding the power to influence the city's most powerful machine, simply vanish? The intrigue deepened because Crater had been intimately involved with Tammany Hall, the organization that orchestrated New York's political hierarchy through a careful mix of bribery, patronage, and intimidation. The mystery gripped newspapers, fueled conspiracy theories, and ignited endless speculation, ultimately leading to a grand jury investigation that concluded in frustration the case was unsolvable. Crater earned the moniker the Missingest Man in New York, a title that endures to this day. From the murky layers of history, 3 dominant theories emerged, each painting a chilling and plausible scenario. Theory 1. Political assassination by Tammany Hall. The most enduring and sinister theory posits that Crater became a liability to the very machine that elevated him. By 1930, Tammany Hall's operations extended into every corner of New York City. Public contracts, legal appointments, and judicial decisions were all influenced by the machine's hands. Crater, newly seated on the Supreme Court, allegedly possessed too much knowledge about illicit dealings, including payoffs, manipulations, and secret arrangements. The significant cash withdrawal suggests that Crater either intended to bribe someone or protect himself from imminent exposure. In this scenario, Crater was intercepted after leaving the steakhouse, murdered quietly, and his body disposed of by operatives seeking to silence him. Some sensational accounts even suggest that his remains were dissolved using methods consistent with organized crime executions, ensuring that the political network remained intact and insulated from scandal. If true, this theory represents the ultimate confluence of power, corruption, and ruthless pragmatism. Theory 2. Organized crime retaliation and the showgirl connection. A darker, more lurid angle emerges from Crater's well-known social habits. He frequented Prohibition-era nightlife, mingling with showgirls, entertainers, and the shadowy figures controlling speakeasies and illegal rackets. One theory suggests that Crater offended powerful mobsters, inadvertently stepping into the dangerous intersections of nightlife and organized crime. The presence of Sally Lou Ritz at the last dinner adds intrigue, although no direct evidence implicates her. Decades later, a deathbed confession by Abe Reles, a notorious hitman associated with Murder Incorporated, claimed knowledge of Crater's fate, suggesting a mob hit executed to prevent interference in criminal operations. The confession, never fully verified, cemented public fascination and linked Crater's disappearance to the dark underworld that thrived behind the glittering facade of New York City nightlife. Theory 3. A voluntary, staged disappearance. The final theory considers Crater's personal life and psychological state, facing mounting stress from professional responsibilities, romantic entanglements, and potential financial troubles. Crater may have calculated his own escape. The large sum of cash, coupled with destroyed documents, could have been his preparation to vanish and start anew in Mexico, South America, or another remote region. This theory is given weight by the timing Crater disappeared just before a political inquiry that might have implicated him or exposed unsavory details of Tammany Hall. Staging his own disappearance would have allowed him to abandon scrutiny, scandal, and possibly a web of personal entanglements, leaving behind only questions, rumors, and a trail that vanished as quickly as he did. Beyond these theories, the investigation into Crater's disappearance was extensive yet frustratingly inconclusive. Police searched high and low, interviewing hundreds of witnesses. Newspapers ran sensational headlines. Detectives examined leads ranging from coastal shipping manifests to cryptic letters that hinted at secret meetings. Despite decades of inquiry, no body was recovered, no evidence of foul play was confirmed, and the envelopes he carried were eventually opened, revealing only mundane legal documents and a life insurance policy items that offered no insight into the mystery. In 1939, 7 years after his disappearance, Joseph Force Crater was officially declared legally dead, cementing the legend. The case of Joseph Force Crater remains a mirror of the complexities and shadows of Prohibition-era New York. It encapsulates the tension between political power and personal vulnerability, between public persona and private danger. It demonstrates how even a man of law, entrusted with upholding justice, can be ensnared by the very forces he is sworn to navigate. The disappearance offers lessons about secrecy, corruption, and the fragility of human control in an environment governed by influence, fear, and wealth. Even today, the legacy of Crater captivates historians, true crime enthusiasts, and conspiracy theorists alike. His vanishing act symbolizes the power of uncertainty in a world built on both glittering appearances and hidden operations. The streets of Manhattan may have shifted and modernized, but the shadows of 1930 remain, whispering questions that are impossible to answer definitively. Did Tammany Hall silence one of its own to protect the machine? Did organized crime eliminate a threat with surgical precision? Or did a man weary of the pressures of fame and obligation simply choose to disappear, reinventing himself far from the streets of New York? Ultimately, Joseph Force-Crater's story endures not because it has a resolution, but because it remains an open-ended riddle. The Missingest Man in New York serves as a haunting reminder that in certain eras, a combination of political influence, personal indulgence, and societal chaos can produce events that defy explanation. His disappearance exemplifies the intersection of history, crime, and human nature, demonstrating how a single vanishing can captivate a city, shape public perception, and persist in the collective imagination for nearly a century. Do you believe Joseph Force-Crater was a victim of political assassination, a casualty of organized crime, or a man who meticulously staged his own disappearance to escape a life too complicated to sustain? The truth may never be uncovered, but the story remains as intoxicating and elusive as the smoky streets of Prohibition-era Manhattan itself. Keep questioning everything.